Why do pupils lurk, and does it affect their learning, and if so, how? What is a lurker? Michael Bordon said, to participate in the act of lurking is to observe a setting but not contribute in any noticeable way. Lurking is a term describing the common and accepted practice of spending time in an online space, observing interaction patterns and reading postings. Lurkers are seldom active in discussion through choice and are participants through their passive attention rather than their active contribution. Posters and lurkers join a community for the same reasons. However, posters feel their needs are better met, perceive more benefits and feel a greater sense of membership than lurkers. Partly because posters do not regard lurkers as inferior members, lurking is not necessarily a problem in active communities. After all, we don't expect everyone to contribute like that in a room, at a gathering or in a crowd, so why would we online? Why don't lurkers post? Why do people engage in lurking practices? Priest 2004 surveyed participants in a bulletin board to learn why they might read but not post messages. The top 5 reasons are shown. Discussion itself requires a pattern of call and response, with turn taking and listening being as important as contributing to the dialogue. Is it possible that students might engage with the discussion by reading, the online equivalent of listening? This could be classed as pedagogical lurking. Many students indicated that they were more likely to be active message posters in a class discussion. More than 3/4 of the students stated that they did read the messages in a given thread before they posted to that thread, and about 2/3 of the students read more threads than they contributed to. In other words, they did read more than they posted, although they tended to feel more involved as a message poster than as a message reader. The theorist view. In an open forum, Zhang and Stork 2001 found that at any one point in time, more than 92% of a community's members are lurkers. Li Chen and Yang 2006 identified 27% of class participants as lurkers. Egan, Jeffries and Johal 2006 divide students into workers, lurkers and shirkers, with shirkers being those who don't log on at all. This classification system shows lurking as description of one's current activity level, rather than as a permanent label. In 2000, Jung Choi, Lim and Leem, Sims, Dobbs and Hand said the focus on interaction and learning communities has become so strong that some have suggested that lurking is a negative activity that takes away from an online learning environment. However, others suggest a great deal of learning occurs while learners are not posting. For instance, Salmon 2000 and Rovai 2002. Gorski and Caspi 2005 have developed a framework for studying learning in distance education systems, which emphasises the importance of both interpersonal and intrapersonal dialogues, the latter being an activity in which lurkers might readily engage. In support of this concept, Bode in 2002 suggests that the results of learning is proof that lurking is a productive practice. The online class lurker, or the student who sits silent throughout the class session and may even look bored, can still perform well on assessment. Fritsch 1997 argues that learning, even in this more passive and less visible mode, is still occurring. In a survey of online communities, young people gave their feedback. Some of them indicated minimal participation, which was driven by low levels of satisfaction. Some stated they didn't have time and did not like interacting with classmates outside of a classroom setting. Also, flaming is used to describe aggressive, hostile or profane online interaction. In their examination of flaming, O'Sullivan and Flanagan 2003 argue that multiple definitions of flaming appear as negative and destructive influences, antisocial interaction, hostile verbal behaviour and aggressive outbursts. Pupils' view. Priest 2004 suggests that individuals are afraid of making commitments to the group or having other users mock their comments. They also added that individuals may be too shy to post and suggested that lurkers consider knowledge power and therefore they believe it should not be shared in order to keep one's value and uniqueness. Do students agree with this? In a survey by Kate Orton Johnson in 2002, students were asked to indicate whether or not they felt they learned through various aspects of their participation on the discussion board. The results are shown. She showed that if a student does not actively participate in the online discussion, he does not exist. Therefore, student participation is vital not only for the sharing of ideas and reflection. As a lurker would read messages and postings and follow strands of a debate but not necessarily contribute to the interaction. Lurker participation in the conferences form the starting point for all other forms of participation. Students suggested that they learned much more from reading other people's comments than writing their own, or that they often processed ideas from the readings and postings even when they are not visibly participating, or that they are autonomous learners and seldom get too engaged in group learning activities. They also get more from readings and assignments than they do from the conference discussions. Have you formed an opinion, and is learning affected by lurking?